This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Kind of dark in here, I guess. Kind of dark. Oh wow, what? Jesus. All right. How's everybody doing? So dark. Let me see what happens. Ah, there we go. A little better, anyways. A little better light. Yeah. Right. But the problem is goalie mom is, I don't just cover, Brian Koberger. So what I want are people that like, they follow true crime, not just like one topic, and then as soon as it's over, they go, ah, yeah. Because here's what happens: like if somebody's really into Brian Koberger, like that case, if I'm covering something else, and then some other just absolute ridiculous person is covering Brian Koberger, they're gonna go watch that just because it's that topic instead of having to mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I played golf today, but I played better at the beginning. I mean, let's see. I think I was like, I ended up shooting an 81 with like 3 double bogeys. I mean, it was like, God, stupid. Really dumb mistakes, That's kind of that's what it's all about. 2 birdies though, that was pretty good. One of the birdies I had was so crazy. Just a horrendously crappy drive on a par 4 where I think I hit the ball 150 yards, which sucks. It hooked it behind like a mound, and I had 220 yards to the green, and I hit a 3-wood, just boom, just smoked the damn thing, and it rolled right. It was going right up the flag, and then I get up there and it's about 4 feet away. I mean, that's pure luck, but made that one. And then another one, just like a 20-foot putt that went in. So, anyways. So we are. We're doing a late show here. I'm gonna, try to reach if we could reach the goal somehow on a minimum, like get to the goal at the top of the screen. That'd be great. Because it's always one of those things, like whenever I go out and do something for myself, it's like and it's a different hour on the show suffers. It's like, God, how do I ever just go do something? I think in my case, it's drive. It's really, the drive is all that matters for me. Like if I hit the drive in the fairway, I'm going to get a par or better on the hole. If I don't hit the fairway, you can forget it. So for me, the drive is more the dough than the putt part is. Thanks, Jim Lawn. Yeah, Cindy, come on. Don't listen. You're not a professional golfer, okay? Let's see. What do we got here? Good short game. Jesus. Yeah, I'm a good putter. That's for sure. I can lag it right next to the hole every time, or make it. You know. It might where you get it chipping, or like sometimes the chipping. I don't know. I used to be good at that, but it takes practice. Hey, look at that, Naven Man. We got a free membership again. Awesome. Yeah. I bet you what part of the game were you good at, Cindy? That's what I thought. Let's see. Yeah, well, it drive well for you. You know what I mean? Like, I bet you if I watched it, I go, oh boy. Let's see. Hi everyone, gonna be here while I do my electrical engineering homework. Well, good for you, man. Yeah, good for you. All right. Well, the first thing I wanted to do tonight was last night there was another article. I don't know if you remember at the end of the show, Zozo was talking about how in the hold on a second. Kristin O'Connell case, how there was their clothing was folded. Because I wasn't in any of the articles, nor the one that I read from 2023, but there's one from 2022 that I think it'd be kind of interesting to go over. Hey, thanks Ria Mazaron and Traveling Teresa saying, let's start the gold drive early. Yeah, it's always good. I always get sort of stressed out when we're just sort of struggling around. Should be really easy on a nightly basis.
Let's start the gold drive early. Ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean wave.
Yeah. So you should be, go kick some ass out there, Timothy. Oh, by the way, you know what somebody said to me in the comments below last night's show? They said, I deleted it, of course, but they said, Gray, why'd you became so woke? Disappointingly so. I mean, does anybody consider me a woke person in here? I mean, literally. I'm like the absolute opposite. I think that whole wokeness shit is garbage, okay? And I've said it 1,000 times, but what's funny is, like, it's almost hilarious. I mean, I am the most I'm not woke at all. I just say, the reality of things. And I guess they thought that because I dared to say that the shooter in Florida killed those people because he was a racist. I mean, he was. I mean, that's just a technical fact. I'm not one of the people, though, that sit there and thinks that every time a white cop shoots a black person that they're racist at all. As a matter of fact, I think 99% of the time there's nothing to do with race. Okay? It's the situation that occurred, and that's what happens. But the society makes it a racial issue because that is, it sells on the TV. These people make it a huge issue. Yeah, he killed them because of their skin color. And I'm not going to just... being woke isn't race dependent. Like, you don't go, it's just ridiculous. It was kind of a weird comment, you got to admit. Right. I always wanted to ask, what is the most, one of the things that I would think that that black people would probably be the most insulted by is a term that, like, I think George W. Bush coined was the soft bigotry of low expectations, And so there's a political party out there that tries to, make it so that individuals don't have to have the same scores, and they shouldn't have to achieve as high to get the same. And it's pretty lame, Like, if I was somebody of a different culture or ethnic background or and I was told that I don't have the ability, but will get you through anyways, I would just be absolutely insulted out of my mind. I mean, look at don't you guys see what I'm saying? Isn't that one of the things that would bother you the most? Like, well, what do you mean? You're lowering the standards for me? How come? Why don't you expect more from me? Right? So that's the soft bigotry of low expectations. And I think that's a real thing that I think people who think about those things, it would bother them tremendously. Yeah, I mean, I would be. I mean, why not just go out and kick some ass? You know what I mean? You just go out and learn. You know, there's schools out there. I don't know. The issue is really complex, and it takes a long time to think through it. But I think the key is education and parenting. That's where it really comes down to. And when you have sort of a breakdown in both of those areas, you get a situation where people are marginalized. I think there's no difference. I think the ability for someone to think isn't. Race has nothing to do with it. You know that? You could take any child and put them in a different situation, and they're going to do really well in school. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, some people are like, you know, my brother's a doctor and I'm not a doctor. You know. So, anyways, what do you guys think about that? Would it bother you if you were somebody and told, we don't expect as much from you? Okay, so we're going to get you through anyways because we don't expect as much. Would that bother you? I mean, I'm just asking. Well, if there's any minorities in here, and I'm pretty sure there are, what would you think of that? I mean, I would think you'd want to go out there and just kick some ass. Mm-hmm. When you say a little, Timothy, what do you mean? It doesn't bother you when somebody goes, well, you don't have to achieve very much, but we're still going to give you the same, you know, like they lower the expectations. Look at you. You're doing electrical engineering, for God's sakes. You could do whatever the hell you want. You know, Danielle has a good job out there too, and she can do whatever the hell she wants to. Anybody can do whatever the hell you want to do. Okay? If you just put the effort in and stay focused. And even if your parents aren't that great, you still can if you want to. There's every school, if you went up to somebody and said, hey, I'd really like to, you know, you could do it. All right? They will find a way to help you. Unfortunately, though, some of the schools in the inner cities have teachers that are dumber than most of the students in the school, so that makes that hard. You know, it's unfortunate. I don't know. It sounds like one I've already done, Sebs. Yeah. Right, but don't you think, well, yeah, okay, so you're saying because I know I can do more than what some people think I can. Right. So there might be people out there that would think, oh, you can't do something because, I mean, what's weird is I don't think most people think that way. Like, because of the color of your skin, you can't do something. You're not able to achieve this or that, you know. But there's certain political groups that seem to like to sell that narrative as if that's something good. You know, I think it's hideous, you know. Mm-hmm. Then yes, I would be insulted. But if it's about level, but it's not. That's not what it's about, Midnight Gala. Yeah, it's about political sort of favor. When you say leveling the playing field, leveling the playing field would be if you, let's say there was two equal people that were just as good, but the job was always given to a white person over the black person, right? And then you would think, well, man, how do we make that? But is it fair to take somebody who isn't as qualified and put them in a position just because you're trying to, quote, level the playing field when somebody else is actually better? I mean, so for example, look at the NBA, for example. Huh? White supremacy? Who's talking? I don't even know what that means. Who's bringing up that? What? I don't know. I don't remember what the hell I was going to say. That comment just threw me off. Making all things equal for everyone. No, but making things equal for everybody, it isn't that way, though. That's the trophies for everyone situation. I can't see the comment before your other one. I don't see the other one. So when you say the whole comment, I think I can... I don't know. I just maybe type it in again. I can't see it. Have you ever done anything on... Maybe I don't have it on live chat. Oh, maybe that was it. No, still the same. Oh, wait, there it is. I don't think a lot of people think that anymore, but definitely in politics they sell that narrative. Like when Biden went to college graduation and said the biggest threat to black people. Right, okay. Yeah, that comment was gone. If you, man, that's so amazing. Hey, did you guys notice though? Look in the bottom right-hand corner. That little heart thing isn't there. I turned it off. Can I get a boom? That thing sucks. That little emotional heart thing at the bottom. You can actually, before the show, you have to press a button. You guys mind if I test it during the show, if I can turn it on and off? Because that way, just even during the show, I could just... let's see what happens. Hold on. So during the show right now, if I click on this, save. Okay. Oh, look at that. It pops right back in there again. Okay, great. That's actually better. Okay, you see how it... Can you guys see that now? The little emoji thing there? Can you see it? All right, now I'm going to turn it off again. No, yeah, that's so great. Woohoo! So that means I don't even have to remember. You guys can just say, hey, great, can you turn off that? Oh, yeah, let me just do it right now. Yeah, it's in the setup on the stream and everything like that. Yeah, so, well, what I was going to say earlier is the NBA, the National Basketball Association, that is a non-discriminatory in terms of the players. You can argue about ownership and coaches, but right, but there's no discrimination there. Who's ever the best players play on the team, right? Imagine if it was reverse, and like for example, remember when there was like affirmative action was a bigger deal, and let's say it was the situation in reverse where you went, okay, everybody, well, we've got a mandate that every team has to have 3 or 4 white people, and then the rest, think how crazy that would be, right? Instead, who cares what race somebody is? It's whoever the best player is gets to play on the team. You get what I'm saying? So it seems like that's how it should be in the real world, and that's why I say education and family and everything. If we could get all of that disparity fixed, I think at that point we're all on a level playing field. And I'm sure there's always lingering racism. And by the way, racism, it goes both ways. There's people of all races are racist. There's people in those races that are racist against other people. Okay, it's not just a white person thing. The thing is there's way more white people, so there's likely more, but you never really know what the percentage is. Like I know that, let's see, I don't really know how to word it, but there's a lot of minority communities teach their kids to not trust white people. Like we're just these monsters and shitty people. And it's like, isn't that a little bit of racism, a little bit? Kind of, you know what I mean? Like that there is a little level of racism there. So maybe one day, like Martin Luther King said, we'll all just be the same. Don't judge by someone by the the color of their skin, but by the content of their character or their ability, right? Right. Yeah, exactly. I think it is. Yeah. So, anyways, kind of a weird aside at the beginning of the show. We made it 20% of the goal. So if you guys want to come in here and help support the channel to get to the goal, even in a late night show, we've got 370 people watching. It should be really easy. I know 70 or 80 of them are trolls. Thank you for watching as well, for the views. Appreciate that. You know that video that I made the other day, it's just still kind of chugging along, but it's slow. You know, it's weird how slow. Now it's got like 12,500 views or something, but you know, that video right there should have 50, 60, 70, 80,000 views on it. It just doesn't. Thank you, Eugenie. And No Faux Show is a freak. Awesome. Well, thanks, Candy Girl.
Ocean Wave.
And by the way, what do you guys believe that like affirmative action and Martin Luther King's statement jive when he said, "Do not judge by the color of one's skin, but by the content of their character"? To me, that's sort of anti what he said. Now, I know I actually agree that it was an important thing to have for a while to make it seem like, you know, I wasn't really an adult for very long during that time, you know, so it was, I don't really know how it was, but maybe there was a time where it sort of helped normalize having different races at different power levels, right? And so I think that sort of, it helped in that way, but overall, it's another one of those things, like, you know, I think it hurt a lot too, because there would be people that wonder, did you get that job because of that, or was it really your ability? And I think that was a feeling that people had too, that got the job. They were wondering themselves, did I get that because I kicked ass? And then maybe that made them work harder to make people, feel like they justified getting it. Hey, thanks, American Lady, and been a freak for a long time. Just realized I didn't update my credit. Well, thanks, No for show.
Chewbacca?
Oh, I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
Been a freak for a long time, just realized I didn't update my credit card information. Smiley face.
Here it is. Bother me so I kicked ass. Well, there you go, Rosemary. There you go. Grandma Rose here. It bothered me, so I kicked ass. I'm now a surgical nurse. Boom. Can I get a boom chakalaka? That's exactly right. I mean, that's exactly right. Right there. That's the amazing thing about the United States. Anybody, yeah, as long as you're not a criminal or some shit like that, you can do what the hell you want to do. You just have to one day say, I'm going to go do that. Right? And I think, I wish more people realize that, is all I can say. And are you by the way, Timothy, what are you are you in what year in college are you? Did you go later, or are you just a younger person that watches my show? Because the average age is like, I think 40 and up or something. I don't know what that means. Absolutely not, in fact. I don't know what that sentence means. You'll have to do something different. We need common sense back. Well, it's true. Baz B said, hit that like button. Here you go. This is Baz B's favorite thing in the world.
It's a house! Huh? It's a house! It's a house!
Yeah. see. What? Cindy? I don't know what that means. How's it called? Yeah, I'm not sitting here talking about, like, I'm just saying that there's racism on all races, okay? There isn't just like one group of people, okay? It's all over the place. So it would be great if we could stop it all and not judge anybody by just like Martin Luther King said. None of us should judge somebody solely by, or not at all by the color of their skin or anything like that. It should just purely be about who, when you meet them, what kind of person are they, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And does that make me woke? No, that's just common sense, right? I mean, like, hello everybody. And by the way, anytime you see on the news where they like a white officer shoots a black person, don't immediately just jump in and go, oh, it's racist, racist. It almost never is, okay? Here's what I would tell people is when an officer tells you to stop and you get out of the car, don't ever make a run for it. Don't ever attack the officer, because as soon as you do that, your odds of something really, really bad happening shoot out the roof. I mean, it is. So, well, here's what LeBron, LeBron's always out there telling everybody, oh, you're a racist cop, you're racist. Hey, LeBron, here's what you should do. Tell the people that you're talking to obey what the police officers are telling them, and nothing will happen to them, okay? I mean, it's incredibly rare at that point that anything happens. When it does happen is when you disobey. Like that one lady who pulled out the taser. She thought she was pulling out a taser but pulled out a gun. And I totally agree that that's what she did. There's no way in hell she didn't. That wasn't an accident. But the guy tried to escape and was wrestling, and he tried to drive away, and it's like, what are you doing? That's why that happened. That's why a split decision had to be made, and then a gun was accidentally pulled out instead of the taser, right? So it's just do what they tell you to do. I think that's the best public service announcement, even if you don't like them. Okay, just do exactly what they tell you to do. Everything will be fine, unless you're a criminal and you did something. You might get arrested, but you'll likely live. You get what I'm saying? Does that make me woke right there? As a matter of fact, that's anti-woke. I always thought that was funny when I was doing the Kanika Jenkins case and just absolutely shredding all these crazy, stupid conspiracy theories, but you'd see people say, stay woke, everybody, stay woke, we got to keep, and you're putting out absolute nonsensical garbage, okay? Wouldn't woke be where you're aware of the reality, not the fake crap that people try to, yeah. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Pink Daisy. Let's see. I don't think you are, Pink Daisy. Rather be wide awake than woke. Yeah, just woke up. Like, it just kind of woke up a little bit. Yeah. All right, anyways. I think I wanted to check on, I want to see what Timothy, when's he going to, hey, when are you going to be, did you ever answer my question, Timothy, up there? Let's see. Now, maybe you took off for a minute. I wanted to see where you, are you in college or, what's going on? You must be pretty young still. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's people that pretend to be socially conscious, but really have no idea what they're doing. They're just trying to pretend that they're really aware so they fit in with their little group of buddies at the soccer games. Yeah. So you went back to school later, Timothy? Like later in life, you went back to school? Is that what's going on? Because I would think that's just amazing. It's hard to do that. Woke is progressive thinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and is progressive thinking any good? That's the thing. I don't think so. I think it's spooky crap. That's what's going on right now with women's sports. We've talked about it. Not going to bring it up again because too many people get offended when you tell them that only women should be able to compete against other women, you bastard Gray. Let's see. But you ever notice that the stuff that I was talking about 3 years ago is now a bigger deal and people are starting to come around to like, yeah, this is crazy. Have you noticed that a little bit? That I've been talking about this for 3 years, 4 years even, and now it's a really big topic and it's really starting to come around where the rational-minded people are being heard and it's starting to get back possibly to something normal. I guess I was just ahead of my time. Yeah, I think society jumped the shark. Yeah. Oh, I was asking you about are you young, like you're just getting into college, or did you go back to school later in life, Timothy? That's what I was asking. Mm-hmm. And by the way, thank you up there to K-Me. And also, yeah, that was way up there. No for show and American Lady. No, sweet. So you're like 21 years old, something like that? Man, you're probably the youngest person that listens or watches my show. By by a mile, I think. Let's see. Well, you just keep doing what you're doing there, Timothy. Keep us updated. Oh, got my applied science degree, so oh, cool. Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. But yeah, I mean, 28 is still pretty young in here, for sure. Mm-hmm. I went back to school at 48 to become a teacher. It's been a nightmare. Well, maybe you should have went back to school to be something else at 48. That's pretty funny, though. I'm a retired firefighter, paramedic. No more school for now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ding 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 ding. Well, that's the thing I always tell people. The Ann Landers article, Mothership. This person said exactly the same thing. They said he was, I think, 40 years old, and he says, "Dear Ann Landers, I'm 40 years old, and I'd like to be a lawyer, but it'll take me 7 years to become a lawyer. Should I do it?" And she said, well, her only answer was, how old will you be in 7 years if you don't become a lawyer? It's like, what a perfect answer that is. I don't think there could ever have been a perfect... it's like you can spend the next 7 years doing nothing, or you can spend the 7 years becoming the person that you wanted to be. right? And that's a mm-hmm. That's got my master's degree at 64. Hey, awesome. Rita Mazzarone. That's what I always tell people. People, they don't realize, see, like the freaks, there's a lot of really smart people in here. Okay? Now, these other places have a lot of really, like, ding-dongs, you know, where they believe in a lot of this crazy, fanciful stuff out there. And they always say, oh, the people over there are dumb, gray, they don't really... No, look at they're not. We actually look through and get the facts of cases, and it makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I guess. All right, well, we're at 33% right now. So if there's anybody out there that wants to keep on, you know, I know we're kind of early into the show, but it'd be nice to get somewhere near the goal early on, so then we could just, there's no stress. And it's all, you know, like I said, it helps the income for the channel, allows me to do the shows. And then at the end of each month, this month we're going to be donating directly $3,000 for sure to the DNA fund for a new case that we got. That covers the entire cost because part of it was donated. The technique was donated, so just we're paying for the rest of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Anyways, I'm going to go read this article that from last night. Remember Kristin O'Connell from last night? There was an article that had a lot more information in it that I didn't read. So that I didn't find. I only had the one from 2023 and then all the newspaper articles. So I think this will be interesting here. Hey, thanks, Allie79. Very cool, very cool. Oh, thanks, Lillian, again on PayPal there. Thank you, Annabelle Stowe. There's a huge American connection and not enough people here know about it. What are you talking about? No, for sure. No idea. Oh, the Set Gaia murders? Anytime in the next year? Well, what is that? I would definitely cover it. Send me an email on it, though. I mean, where is that? Set Gaia murders. I think the wages are pretty high right now. For in Oregon, it's like $17 an hour is minimum. It's crazy. I mean, when I was a kid, it was $3.95 or something, and it definitely hasn't gone up that much. Yeah. I don't know what they were asking about. Can you cover the? Yeah, there's a huge American connection, and I don't know what you're referring to, but you'd have to send it to me. No, for show. But yeah, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. Miss Condonald. What's that? All right, here we go. So this is the one from last night. The one where, let's see, I think she lived in Let's see. I don't remember her hometown, but she was at a Florida spring break and then went to a bar and met this guy, and then when she went back to her hometown, I think it was Michigan, if I remember right, and I think the town started with a B. Was it Wisconsin? Maybe it was. I just remember visually it was up in the... let me see. I thought it was like right up here. Yeah, well, it's Minnesota, not Michigan, sorry. Yeah, that's right. So it's Minneapolis area there. And then she went to visit the guy that she seemed to like in Florida. He lived in New York, and in this really small town. She went to visit him, and then he told her that he already liked somebody else, and then she was disappointed and then decided to leave the trip early. I mean, how uncomfortable that must have been. And then she went for a walk at like 11:30 at night, and then she just didn't show up, and people were looking for her, and then they found her body like not really far away from the house, just up the road a little bit in a field, nude. And this article has other information. Are you guys ready for this or not? A lot of comments all over the place. All right. So this is another article that seemed to have more information in it. The 20-year-old was killed in a cornfield in 1985, but claims of a cover-up and bureaucracy have beleaguered the investigation, and it still remains unsolved. When Minnesota native Kristin O'Connell traveled to the small town of Ovid, so let's just go to the Ovid place first. Yeah, here we go. Right here in this tiny little town here. So this is where she went for the party. The guy, Vermeersch, that's the individual that she liked from Florida. Let's see. So she traveled to the small town of Ovid in New York in the summer of 1985. It should have given her the chance to enjoy a final week of freedom before college started up again that fall. Kristin was off to see a male friend she had met in Florida on spring break, and it seemed there was the potential for the long-distance relationship they had since maintained to develop into something more. They had since maintained. I don't know what that means. But the trip would turn to horror after Kristin was found brutally murdered, and 37 years later, police are apparently still no closer to finding out who did it. What's more, the investigation has been plagued by mistakes, red tape, and even claims of a cover-up by police. Could tireless campaigning by Kristin's family and new publicity generated by the true crime community finally see this cold case murder cracked? A good trip turns bad. Kristin was attending college in the Minnesota town of Burnsville when she was studying hotel-motel management with the aim of one day running an accommodation for tourists somewhere warm and sunny. There were just a few weeks left before junior year began. Let me check something out. Yeah. In September of 1985, and Kristin wanted to spend some of that time catching up with friends she had met on a previous trip to Captiva Island in Florida. One in particular was James Vermeersch Jr. had invited her to visit him at his home in Seneca County, New York, and she thought taking him up on the offer might provide the ideal vacation. Kristin was excited and headed out to Finger Lakes area, and she started making plans to travel on August 12th. Her mother Phyllis told NBC Dateline she and Kristin's father had some misgivings about the trip, but recognized the fact that their daughter was a grown woman and wanted to enjoy freedom. As a compromise, they arranged for Kristin to fly to Boston instead of New York City and be picked up. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out. Boston instead of New York City, and to be picked up by one of her father's business associates who would drive her the rest of the way to scope out her accommodation. She was so bright with excitement, Phyllis recalled. The journey went ahead without incident, and Kristin promised to call home regularly during the week-long break to check in and let her family know she was safe. But just a day later, Phyllis received a call from her daughter from a payphone in Ovid. She said she was cutting the vacation short and returning home the following day instead. Phyllis thought something had happened to prompt the sudden change of heart, but didn't press the matter. Something wasn't right in her voice, she would later tell Dateline. So I guess this must have been on Dateline. On August 15th, 1985, or it's the written version. On August 15th, 1985, two young men went to the police in Ovid to report a missing person. One was Jim Vermeersch Jr., the guy that she went to visit, who said there was no sign of the young woman who had been visiting him and that he was concerned. He said Kristin O'Connell had been at a party at his mobile home the night before with around 8 people in attendance, but that she had wanted some air after it became too hot. I think she was just really feeling uncomfortable. Jim said she was last seen between 11 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. leaving the trailer to walk barefoot down a nearby unlit road without her purse. Although the revelers had looked for her around 1:30 a.m., they were unable to locate her. A friend of Jim's, 17-year-old David Chamberlain, backed up this version of events and denied when challenged that there had been an argument at the party. She just went for a walk and didn't come back. A ground search of around 80 state troopers and other emergency services was mounted to look for Kristin, but they drew a blank. It wasn't until August 16, 1985, that the search party made a horrifying discovery. Kristin's body was found in a cornfield around a half mile from where she was last seen. She had been stabbed multiple times, and so that wasn't in those, it just said her throat was cut. She had been stabbed multiple times, and her throat had been slashed. Although there was no sign of sexual assault, investigators suspected she may have died fighting one off. My God, Cindy, are you still talking about the wages? It's just, holy crap. And then you hear one comment from here, and then you go, oh yeah, what about the, just, try to focus sometimes. Let's see. New York State Police immediately started to look into who could have harmed the happy-go-lucky young woman and found the road just by the cornfield was busy with traffic made up of employees at the nearby Seneca Army Depot. They were also area campers who would travel along it to visit the Golden Buck, a bar and restaurant located in front of Jim's mobile home, the Democrat and Chronicle reported at the time. Meanwhile, Kristin's mother examined why her daughter might have been wandering the unlit roads of Ovid in the middle of the night, as per Jim's account, but I thought the mom said that she would do that sometime. Although the idea sounded far-fetched, there were in fact witnesses to place Kristin by County Road 139 between 11:50 and 12:10 a.m., as he suggested. She told Dateline she thought there may have been some marijuana use at the party, something that could have made an anti-drug Kristin uncomfortable enough to leave. Furthermore, Phyllis revealed Kristin had previously told her she was saving herself sexually for marriage, a stance that had caused guys to back off in the past. Could someone at the party have made an unwanted advance towards her? Let's see. There was one more thing. Kristin's father, Michael, discovered that Jim had actually been dating another girl that August and had planned to tell Kristin about it when she arrived, according to the Democrat and Chronicle. This disappointment is likely to have been the reason Kristin suddenly cut her visit short, but might it have led to an argument later that evening, too? Maybe. Like, why didn't you tell me before so I didn't travel all this way down here? Let's see. Investigators had some worrying leads to look into as the summer unfolded, including a tip that someone had seen a blue or green car pull up beside Kristin on the road and another vehicle close by it. State Police Sergeant Thomas Warren asked for more information in a bid to locate the cars in case others had witnessed a similar scene. Thanks, Danielle. There are also suggestions that two men might have been following Kristin that night, as well as news of the discovery of a pillowcase bearing the name of a nearby mental health facility. So apparently there was a pillowcase next to her that was bearing the name of a nearby mental health facility lying near the road. Strangest of all, though, was an anonymous phone call. I think this phone call was somebody who knew something. Now listen to this. Strangest of all, though, was an anonymous phone call that was received by investigators days after the murder. The agitated caller told police to look in the trunk of a green Chevy on Main Street in Waterloo if they wanted to find what they needed to track down Kristin's killer. I'm getting out of town because I told him not to do it. I guess it said, I'm getting out of town because I told him not to do it. I told him not to do it. I'm heading out of town, the caller said before hanging up. There is no record of such a car in Waterloo yielding anything useful to detectives. Well, maybe by the time you looked, it wasn't there anymore, but that seems really specific there. Although police have suggested the murder was a crime of opportunity, rumors persist to this day in Ovid and beyond that there are people who know precisely what happened to Kristin back in 1985 and are keeping quiet. A Facebook page dedicated to the cold case even claims that the state police involved in the investigation were friends of the parents of the kids who were at the party that night and might be covering something up. Another strange point made on the same social media page is that a local man named Donald Nutsy Chamberlain was the owner of the trailer where Kristin stayed less than 24 hours before her murder. He also owns the Golden Buck restaurant mentioned earlier and has a sign up on the premises proclaiming that anyone who talks about O'Connell's murder will be asked to leave. Kind of reminds me of remember the guy taking down the pictures in the Allerson Watterson? Taking down the posters? That was always just really weird to me. Thanks, Iris Rainbow. Let's see. A further local man implicated by then District Attorney Donna Cathy was someone named Gary Harris. The Democrat and Chronicle reported in 1995 the DA suggested that hairs from a black individual had been found at Kristin's crime scene, and he was the only black male in Ovid at the time. Acting Seneca County Judge W. Patrick Falvey ordered DNA tests on hair and blood samples found in 1985 to clarify the matter, but these DNA tests were blocked due to a lack of probable cause that Harris was involved. Harris' attorney argued being in the community or being black in the community does not meet the requisite proof. Yeah, so they found, looks like it was black hair on, and just because he is you know, the only black person in the town doesn't mean somebody else didn't come in, you know. And it doesn't, and that would be just purely, like, what other evidence did you have? I don't know. It's kind of a weird one, because it sort of seems circumstantially that's pretty, you know. But I mean, just because he's in the community, what does that matter? Somebody could have came driving through. Let's see. Police stressed that Harris was only one of many suspects, names being looked at as part of the investigation. Oh! I'm not sure what language that is, but hey, for the murder December 31st, 2000. Amelia synopsis. Oh, I just send me like some basic stuff. You don't need to send a bunch of...
I'll email you a synopsis and some links. It will blow your mind. The most solvable unsolved case you'll ever look into.
Oh, yeah?
Just got to get American eyes on it. Thanks for your hard work as always.
Okay, cool. Yes. I guess just send me whatever you got. Since I don't even have a clue. I don't even know where it's from or anything. Huh? You do great work, people like you. I wish I could. I've tried. I just can't keep up your great work, though. I don't know what that means, but hey, thanks. Despite this, though, there are still an astonishing 318 separate pieces of physical evidence linked to the crime. Oh, wait, hold on. A baffling blocking forensic testing. And that leads us to the forensic side of this homicide investigation, which has been baffling to say the least. Kristin's blood-stained clothes were found folded neatly beside her body in the cornfield following her murder. See, here's what I want to know. Was she murdered there? In the field? Because maybe this is like she was dumped there and, you know, I mean, it is kind of weird though, right? Like, it's folding. Now, like, Zozo thinks that absolutely means it was a girl who killed her because the clothes was folded. It was folded. Yeah, they were folded. Yeah. But that doesn't mean anything to me. That doesn't speak to what somebody is. Well, she didn't just call it. She was reading it, Maria. You said she called it. Like, oh, she called it. She just read this article. It's in there. Okay? I didn't have this one. Anyways, I don't think it means that a woman killed her just because the clothing is folded. Right? You get what I'm saying? Yeah, well, when you say somebody called it, that's when somebody throws out a guess at something, and yeah. Let's see, mods, what's the email again? That's GR. Yeah. I'll type it in. But she's the one that made me aware of the article. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I mean, I read so many different things. Maybe my mind skipped over it or something. But I didn't see this 2022 article. This is the only one that I've seen it in. So. Which is weird. I mean, so it makes you wonder, I mean, is it real or... kind of pretty specific, though.
Thanks, Gray.
Thank you. Lisa L. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of random. I mean, it sort of makes you wonder, at that point, if it was at that party. You know, like something happened at that party, and then she was dumped there, and her clothes was folded. Like, what if she was in the house and was taking a shower or something, and she was just sort of done for the evening? And she folded up her own clothes, and then she gets murdered and then thrown out on the side of the road. And then the clothing wasn't just, I don't know, but it wasn't tossed. It was just sitting there neatly. I don't know. It's kind of a weird one, right? Yeah, but why would she take them off and fold it? She wasn't a sexual person, and at all, so Yeah, I mean, and you know, the clothing was bloody and it was folded up. So I guess it couldn't have been where she took a shower. You know, it's like it wasn't like bloody already. You know what I'm saying? No, maybe some guys would. Don't you remember the priest who killed that one girl who folded her arms up neatly and placed her head gently on something and did all, you know. Then we also have that case with, I forgot her name for some reason, but where she was the hearing impaired. And remember how her clothes were, or her shoes were neatly placed next together on this pond. You know, but that case does have a possible element of a female being involved, and maybe even the female that was the girlfriend of her husband. Yeah, we can't say deaf anymore for some reason. Yeah. Well, that's what I said, Zozo. I just said that. I guess we were thinking the exact same thing at the same time. I just couldn't remember her name. That's funny. Yeah. It just says there, Kristin's blood-stained clothes were found folded neatly beside her body. So I guess, isn't it possible, though, that because she was stabbed and her throat cut, that her folded up clothes are bloodstained because of the blood that came out of her once she was stabbed and her throat cut, instead of it being bloody and then folded up later? I don't know. I think we can... I don't know. Can we say deaf anymore? Seems like we've had to switch it to hearing impaired. Well, I don't know. Just say it however you feel like saying it, Zozo. I just I don't know why a term like that has to be so. Everything doesn't have to be. I don't know. Aren't you guys getting tired of it? Just having to remember how to say everything over and over and over again. Yeah. Let's see. Let me see if let's type it in. Is it appropriate to say deaf? Some people believe that the term people with hearing loss is inclusive and efficient. However, some people who were born deaf or hard of hearing do not think of themselves as having lost their hearing. Over the years, the most commonly accepted term have come to be deaf, and hard of hearing. What do you mean deaf and then same word again? Okay, good. So that's good then. You can say deaf. But in general, calling someone deaf is absolutely acceptable. Okay, good. Because I remember I said it one time. They go, "Great, it's hard of hearing. It's hard of hearing." And then I started going, "Oh my God, what do I say?" Yeah. When I was a kid, you'd walk up to somebody and say, "Man," I mean, well, I wouldn't say it, but somebody would say, "You've got a lot of zits, man. What's going on?" What would the term be now? You are facially impaired. I'm not even sure how you say it, but yeah. Facially impaired. Yeah. It is nuts. It's stupid. Listen, everybody. If your kid is competing in a sport and they get dead last and they're given a ribbon, just shred the damn thing up, okay? Tell them, listen, if you know, your goal is to win, right? These participation trophies that people are getting. I remember in swimming, if you made the finals, right? Like if you made it to the finals, everybody got a like in the city meet. If you won, you got a trophy. I got that a couple times in Butterfly, but I actually thought it was cooler to get second or third because you got a medal, and even fourth got a medal, fifth got a medal. So you got a medal, if you made the finals basically. But if you didn't make the and then regular swim meets, you would get ribbons. What you want is the blue one or the red one. I think it was blue, red, and white. And like blue was first, red was second, if I remember right, and white was third. But it's cool getting the medals, man. That was awesome. And the city events where all the teams are competing against each other. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is I don't, somebody has to get second place. You could still be really good and be second place. So the goal though is to win. So it's weird when parents like, oh yeah, you did so well, you can be. What you should do is say, listen, if you really like the sport, we'll do all we can to keep you in it. And but here's the thing: if you work your ass off, you might win some of these, or you'll do this and that, and you just work as hard as you can, and you try to be the best you can. But giving trophies, this is what's going on right now. Do you know that in Oregon right now, they just came up with a new thing where you can't give students a 0, like if they cheated on a test or something. There's no more zeros anymore. It's a whole different scoring system. Duff is a not ho. What? Yeah. Wow, you won a trophy? What happened? Well, we got our team competed. You get a trophy for competing? So now you got these idiots that show up to jobs saying they think they should be coddled. Remember how that was about 3 or 4 years ago, where if you don't feel like coming, you don't have to be here. Oh, don't say any. I'm gonna have my mommy call. People would have their mom and dad call their work because they didn't get. God, if I had a company and somebody did that, I would fire them in 1 second, man. It's not even really socialism. It's just idiocy. It's creating a really weak group of people. I mean, you could have 8 people running the 100-meter dash, and one of them gets 9.81, 9.82, and they're all amazing runners, but somebody has to get first, right? I mean, it's hard to get a tie. That does happen, but... Yep, expire the wokeness. You got it. Anyways, let me get back to this. So it was, let me start at this paragraph again. A baffling blocking of forensic testing. And that leads us to the forensic side of the homicide investigation, which has been baffling to say the least. Kristin's blood-stained clothes were found folded neatly beside her body in the cornfield following her murder, and police have pointed out that a rainstorm that night did wash away some evidence. Despite this, though, there are still an astonishing 318 separate pieces of physical evidence, that's crazy, linked to the crime, from the victim's fingernails and a blood-stained sweater to the aforementioned pillowcase. And so the sweater was at one of the folded pieces of clothing. And reportedly hundreds of hairs, and they are not being tested using new technology. God, what a joke. See, that's what New York... I think New York is still not doing what I've talked to you about. They're identifying Jane and John Does. Yep. But they aren't using it to identify the criminals. I think that's something they still are not doing. I mean, how ridiculous. So, although a world-renowned Dutch laboratory offered to test evidence from Kristin's case in 2009, the New York State Health Department blocked the request because the lab is not certified in New York. District Attorney Richard Swinehart told the Ithaca Journal. You know what always makes you wonder when people are adverse to putting this in, are they scared that at some point they might be found out about something? Is there something, because why would somebody not want to progress and start identifying rapists and killers? Why would you not want to do that? It makes you feel like there's I mean, I'm not a conspiracy person, but it's weird. Man, you think people go, oh my god, this new technology, we gotta go, let's go. Yeah. Phyllis and a Minnesota senator lobbied the department to grant an exception and allow the Amsterdam-based lab to apply for certification, but no further progress appears to have been made in this regard. The O'Connell family has set up a petition to demand DNA testing, which can be viewed and signed at change.org. As a further blow, Phyllis was informed by the New York Inspector General in 2010 that a forensic scientist who may have worked on Kristin's evidence had been at the center of an evidence falsification case. Oh boy. Jerry Veeder was found to have been involved in what is referred to as dry labbing, also known as presenting lab results without actually performing the tests in a bid to cut corners. Oh man, it probably cast doubt on all the shit that... Could he have been simply pretending to examine Kristin's crime scene evidence too, thereby letting a crucial clue slip through investigators' fingers? In 1985, he did the initial evidence. I don't know how many items, but anything to do with the clothes, because that's what he handled. I mean, my God, this is an important job they're doing, and how could they allow this and not be supervised properly? And as if all that were not enough, it was reported just last year that a cold case team headed by the former manager of the FBI Violent Criminal Apprehension Program had offered the use of a New York State permitted forensic lab at no cost to test all the physical evidence from Kristin's case. The tests would be done as part of a documentary being made on the murder by a two-time Academy Award winner Bill Gutentag, and would bypass the issues caused more than a decade ago concerning the Dutch lab. Thank you, Mrs. C. Hey, by the way, Zozo, if you're out there, I got the emotional. Oh my God, man! I can't get the emotional heart thing off the screen there. Sorry about that. I think I'm just getting allergies again. It's crazy. There we go. Yet New York State Police turned down the offer and refused to provide their cooperation on the project. In a statement made to Dateline, New York State Police Troop spokesman Mark O'Donnell said it would be against police... That's kind of ironic. O'Donnell. Would be against policy to involve outsiders in an active murder inquiry. Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. As in all cases, the state police does not share critical information, evidence, or the techniques used in solving cases. Well, you're not using any techniques. By sharing such information, it could jeopardize the integrity of the investigation. Except this happened in 1985, and you're now, 38 years in. So in spite of what appears to be a wealth of evidence available in Kristin's murder case, it has remained resolutely cold. In 2010, a $10,000 reward was offered for information leading to the conviction of her killer, and in 2015, a statement from police said more than 1,900 leads have been investigated without success. Kristin's father died recently, and her mother is now in her 80s, so time is running out for Phyllis to see the justice she craves for her daughter. I think we're probably almost exactly the same age, me and Kristin. She's still calling on the police to either analyze the evidence using modern forensic or close the case, which would allow her to submit a Freedom of Information request to get a hold of it. Phyllis also wants a change in the law so that all police departments have dedicated cold case units, which would prevent cases being handled from one detective to another as years go by, like Kristin's has been. She has promised not to stop fighting for the truth about what happened in Ovid all those years ago, telling Dateline, "I think there are people up there who know what happened but are afraid to come forward. I believe people are scared. I know I can't bring her back, but I can't rest until I find out who did this to her." In the meantime, all the family is left is a now eerily prescient letter Kristin had written to herself 10 years before she died, when she was 10 and trying to work through her feelings about her grandmother's death. Yeah, I think we read all that. Death happens to us sooner or later. No one knows when it's going to creep in or creep up and grab you except God. Anyone with information on Kristin O'Connell's murder is asked to contact New York State Police Major Crimes Unit at 585-398-4100. Yeah, so this is where her party was, right there, and then her body, we actually found the neighbors that they said the body was found across the street from. So that means she was found, somewhere. That's not going to work. Wow. Jesus. That was weird. Went like 10 miles away. Yeah, like she was just found right in this field right here. Yeah, I got rid of it. Isn't that awesome? I can turn it on and off at will. I don't think I'll ever turn it on again. Oh, it might be on accidentally, but I can turn it off live during the show. All right. So that was the update on that. I thought, thought it was pretty interesting. It wasn't really an update. It was just something I missed. Okay. You guys want to see? So I'm working on this newer, inside the Idaho 4 murder case animation. I think this is turning out pretty good. I'm going to do it in different parts this time. And I'm not going to try to recreate a battle or something. I'm just going to have it go to dark. And, I don't really know. I'm not going to show anything or anything. But I want people to see the actual time, okay? Because there's people out there, they comment all the time. They always say, God, there's had to be somebody else. There's no way somebody could kill all those people in that short amount of time. Okay, but watch this video here. This video here is only 25 seconds long, but look how slow this is. Watch. Doesn't this look, this is like a natural pace that Koberger would be going into that house, right? Goes up the stairs, right? Goes up the stairs and even goes into this room first. Probably looked in there, Kaylee's room, and was, oh shit. And he was like, comes out, and then he's heading over to Madison's room. Bam. Okay, and then it's going to go, boom, dark, right? It's going to fade to black right there. Stuff will happen. Then I'll show them on the bed or something like that. And then I'll add a different animation. But that was only 25 seconds. And see, that's not quick. I mean, I'm not moving the body fast. The camera is just like, You could do it quicker than that if you wanted to. If you were jogging or hustling. But what do you guys think of that? It's pretty good, right? And then it's just going to stop right there in Madison's room. And then I'm going to have the camera like turn, and then you can see both of them on the bed there. And then, yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to do this in differently than the last time. It's like one long take. Hey guys, we're at 70%. We're almost there. Can we do it? Will the freaks get us to the goal tonight? Yeah, so this is going to have like 4 different clips in it. I like it the way I have it because it's not smooth. It feels like this is from the eyes of... And what I did was I have a character that's walking in the scene, and I attached a camera to his head, and therefore moves pretty much like how a person would, how it would look if you put one camera on an actual human being. That's the shot. So there's the wireframe version of it. So this is what it's doing. Watch. So there's the outside right there. If you zoom in, here, watch this. So I have a light and the camera attached to the head of that character right there, right? And then you see him. He comes in. That's below Kaylee's room. Takes a right, goes past the little closet right there on the right, underneath the stairs, heading right towards Dylan Mortenson's room, then takes a right and goes up the stairs. See? Then at the top of the stairs, takes a left into Kaylee's room, doesn't see anything, then exits, and then right now goes into Madison's room. Isn't that cool? There's actually a character doing that, but you don't really need to see him. Well, thanks, Zozo. Yeah. So then you can actually look at the head of the person. Yeah, No For Show said, "Get to the goal, freaks." Right there, that's... See that? That door right there goes into Dylan Mortenson's room. I don't know where her bed was or anything like that. So, anyways, that's the next... I just did that today. I think I have a bet. This is going to be a better way to do this. It gets too complicated when you make the whole walk at the same time. Because this is the how I'm doing it right here. This is Poser.
Chewbacca?
I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
So this is the program that I'm creating the walk in. See, he's walking like that. And so then I export his movements. I put the model in this program, and then I export the FBX file of him walking, and he's just flat on the ground, though. I mean, that's the weird part about it. Like this. See how he walks in? And that's just a flat path. But in 3D Studio Max over here, if you look over here, I mean, if you guys are really give a shit at all, but there's this dummy that you put in the scene, this little green box here, and then you put his body as a child to the dummy, right? So then when he's moving, here, let's see. So when he's moving around, watch the dummy here. Now watch when he goes up the stairs in a second. See the dummy moving up? Because I animate. The parent is the dummy. So I actually move that on the path to simulate him going up the stairs, right? Because it was a flat path before. Does that make sense? So If you look right over here, here's the dummy. See that on the left? And then the body is a child to the dummy. They just call it a dummy. It's just like a dummy object that doesn't, it's not renderable, it doesn't look like anything. Man, you guys are so fun to talk to. It's great. Right. I'll tell you what, if we get to the goal, I'll work on it on the show, okay? But we're doing the... I'll work on part 2. Yeah. Now I think that worked out pretty good. Look at that. Ding, 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 ding. I mean, he doesn't step perfectly on anything, but you don't need it to look like that. Well, it's only too technical for you because you don't want to... Well, part 2 is just when he... Finnick goes into Madison's room and then exits and walks downstairs to go into Xana's room. And then part 3 would be exiting Xana's room, and then I think that's the ending, and then walks by Dylan's room and then exits the house. Well, it's just, well, no, when you say it's too technical, it just means that you're not willing to, like, listen and just go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's just sort of like, oh, it's too technical, therefore I can't do it. I guarantee you could understand what I'm talking about. Like I said before, this guy's walking flat here. But I simulate him moving upstairs by attaching his whole body to this other object here and animating the object, and then it keeps him with it. I mean, notice the dummy here. It's at the feet level the whole time. Watch. Feet level, feet level, feet level, feet level, feet all the way. That's all it's doing is going up and down. I don't wonder that at all. I don't think he's been... I don't know. I just don't think he's ever been inside their house. I mean, I guess it's possible. They weren't even at home one time and he went in there. What are you talking about, Cindy? He is animated. He's just walking flat. I'm just doing the way I want to do it. Jesus, you're just... God, your questions are almost just never really related to what's actually going on. I think at most he... I mean, you know... I think at most he checked the door a few times to see if it was... I don't know. We don't know if he ever touched the door. But that's not trying to understand. You're trying to, like, point out, like, a problem or something. Like I was saying before, he's walking flat on the ground because that's how I brought him in here. And to get him to go up the stairs in a quick way, you just attach him to a dummy and then animate the dummy, and he'll just keep moving his legs and going up the stairs and everything. It saves a lot of time. He doesn't step on each step or anything like that. It just looks like he does through the camera on the head. I don't know, this time it was pretty... I mean, the model took me weeks to make, but the animation is sort of an automatic, you know, the walk is sort of automatic. I'm not sure what you're saying, Raw Man. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Mm-hmm. How long does this take, Gray? What do you mean by take? I don't know what you mean. Yeah, this is a program that costs $1,500 a year for me to get. You know, so part of that, you know, the income that I generate helps me get this program because it has a lot of really amazing things in it. I don't know, Lori. I don't wonder about all that kind of stuff. All the 1st of September, they'll come to an arrangement on the trial. I don't know. I don't think the trial's going to happen for a long time. Yeah, I think it's going to be years. Well, I want to check out this thing on Rex Herman here. 2 women held in Suffolk County Jail said they had encounters with the Gilgo Beach killing suspect Rex Herman, describing the meetings with him as violent and aggressive. Sheriff Department spokesperson Vicky Stefano said Thursday. Thanks, Teresa. The alleged encounters with the 2 female sex workers are believed to have happened more than a decade ago, said DeStefano, noting the women expressed concern for their safety during the time they say they were with Herman. The information was uncovered as part of the ongoing interviews by the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department Human Trafficking Unit, which was created to help those incarcerated have access to services and support they need to recover. Let's see. Since Herman's July 13th arrest, the unit had been interviewing sex workers as well as showing a picture of Herman to women to see if they recall any interactions with them. And so that, you know what, so this is right here is exactly why that Suffolk County Sheriff guy was not wanting to investigate this case, because if they did this type of investigation, people would say, oh, well, I've been with that guy, you know. So that's why he didn't want to do anything. He was like stonewalling the investigation. And by the way, the thing is, Cindy, you're supposed to put stuff in there so that you throw me in prison. Man, it's not working. The floor plans were all over the place. A couple different ones. I found a better one. You just kind of got to do it. You know, it took me a long time to make it. The floor plans were out there. One of them actually had measurements, so I used that to get the actual size, dimensions of the floors, and then put the walls and whatnot in there based on other models or diagrams. There's never been a really great one, but it's definitely close, you know. Oh yeah, the submersible ones. What do you mean you can't get the buffering signs from my screen? I'm not sure what that means. Oh yeah, look at this. Herman is meeting with clergymen once a week while in jail. As top cops says he's been taken off suicide watch and is emotionless. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know about you guys, but he's seeing a clergyman and I think he's good to go. I just put him back out in society at this point. Well, maybe not. Yeah. 2 prostitutes hired by Gilgo Beach murders suspect Rex Herman have accused him of being violent and aggressive. They were interviewed in late July, shortly after Herman's arrest, and said they became afraid for their safety during intimate encounters. A person of that size being a little aggressive was probably frightening, Toulon said of Herman, who is 6'4" and weighs 240 pounds. While they were not injured, both sex workers told police they were unnerved after their... See, here's what I think. It's like after he's arrested, they all want their... You know, it could be true and everything like that, but it just feels like, where were you before? You know? You know, all these people that go, oh yeah, man, Rex, he was weird, man. He was weird as... he was crazy. We all saw that interview. He didn't seem that weird, right? He just seemed like you know, little jovial kind of guy, just... Let's see. Hold on. No, I can't. What kind of weird question is that? Tried that, thank you. We'll try. It's not actually buffering, just on my screen. I mean, we do missing persons, murders, you know, assaults, you know, like sexual assault type things. Yeah, I don't do all crime. That's boring as hell, you know. I mean, are there true crime YouTubers that do crimes on somebody stole a Snickers bar from a 7-Eleven? I don't think so. That'd be boring as hell is what it would be. Nah, I think it'd be terrible. Let's see. I mean, sometimes there's really interesting cases that are that are non sort of, you know, murder cases, but they're not really too many, you know. And murder cases sometimes aren't really interesting either. They're just, you know, there's just so many murders out there. Not sure. I know we're still just covering the same trial that we've been doing. I got the day number 4 coming up. But, all right. Well, if we get to the goal, I'll work on some of this thing. Okay. If not, I can just do something else. I don't really have much more to do tonight, but there's some sex workers claiming that Herman was, you know, rough with them, but at the same time they were probably aware of who he was now, so of course, you know. No, now this is the one with the, I think it's the, the 2 parents, the foster parents killed their kid. I don't know. He didn't kill everybody he was with. We don't really know what the reason he killed the ones that he killed were. But he'd been with a lot of different ones and he didn't kill some of them. I don't know, American lady. I don't agree with you. Let's see. Yeah, Richard Ramirez and Son of Sam were self-declared Satan worshipers. I'm not even sure what you're saying. You mean the water, not giving the water? Or what, why are you calling that a crime, American lady? I would say like 9/11 was much bigger than that. That's a crime. A lot of people missing over there, though. Alright, guys. Well, I think that'll do it for me tonight. I appreciate you guys coming in for the show. Thank you to Jim Lawn, Eugenie, Ria Mazarone, Travelin' Teresa, Donna D, Lisa L, Eugenie, No For Show, new member, Just Junie, American Lady, No For Show, Kami, Ali79, Annabelle Stell, Cindy J, Danielle, Iris Rainbow, No For Show, Lisa L, Mrs. C, No For Show, Teresa. Alright. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, but we're getting near the end of the month. I was hoping to get to the goal tonight, but doesn't seem like we're going to make it. So we'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody? Talk to you later.
Good night, everybody.
Yep, good night, everybody.